Hi everyone. Today we're talking about risk analysis and risk management, the evaluation and managing of risks. So first and foremost, we need to get to know risk. Risk is made up of two parts: the probability of a negative consequence and the actual consequences of that negative thing. This is applied to taking on new projects and ventures in general, whether they be in business or personal. So the first thing that needs to happen is something called a risk assessment. This is an invaluable tool in any toolkit, like I said, for business or personal, because it can be used to make smarter decisions and take care of risks or be prepared for them before they show up. So the process of a risk assessment is simple. It's a simple process, but it often yields complex results, depending on the situation or organization that it's applied to. First, you need to identify your risks. We'll get into that right now. Like I said, you need to identify your risks. You need to find out what risks exactly you are coming up against or you foresee. And this can be done by, say, for example, you want to take on a new business venture. First, you have to figure out all the areas within your business or the business that you'll be cooperating with that are open to risk. Once you have all the sectors, you need to find the individual risks that could affect each of those sectors. Once you have that, it comes to the estimate part. And what you do there is you basically chart which risks are more important than the others. So, for example, you could have a risk of, I don't know, someone coming in late to work, maybe, because you're moving to an area with, you plan to move your office to an area with high traffic, versus the risk of your website being breached and you losing personal information. Obviously, one risk is higher than the other on the spectrum. And this is basically risk analysis, figuring out what risks you have to face and seeing which of these is more important. Once you've done your risk assessment, now you need to perform risk management. So there's a few very traditional ways of dealing with your risk. Number one is avoidance. Why would you avoid something or a venture or a project? Some reasons are that there's no reward in it for you. So basically, all downside, no upside. In that situation, there's no reason to pursue a project. Or if you've identified a risk that is too expensive to solve. So if you would save money not even trying to fix that risk, sometimes it's better to just avoid it. The next way is to share the risk. So say you see opportunity in a project, but you still don't want to burden or shoulder 100% of the risk. What you can do is bring in a third party to share the risk with. Now, you share the risk, but you also share the opportunity. So that's another thing you have to consider there. And the third traditional way is acceptance. If there is no other choice or no other way to mitigate the risk, all that's left is to accept it. For example, if a risk is too costly to fix, then you're left with nothing but acceptance. But acceptance does not mean passiveness. One guideline given is that acceptance always requires control. If you accept a risk, you are also required to control that risk in some type of way, whether it be through preemptive action, trying to prepare for the risk, or trying to start on fixing the risk right there. Now, doing nothing may be an option, but it's not the only option. And it's important not to get it confused with acceptance. And that's that for risk assessment and risk management. Thank you.